Welcome to Top Talkers. We're going to talk about being solo today with my panel this morning. It is from Majic 100, Trisha Owens.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Alison Sandor from CFRA. Good morning.
Good morning.
And of course, Carson, Cub & Co.
How are you, Jeff?
I'm fantastic. Cub & Company on 93.9 Bob FM. Don't miss the show. Every morning, weekday mornings. They don't work weekends because they're lazy.
Exactly.
Listen,
my contract.
Generation Y is having a problem, and they think it has to do, well, is it a problem or not is the first question, I guess, and they think it has to do with technology. People are living alone, and in staggering numbers, in fact, not really hooking up, not making that family unit the way we used to. Some numbers. Now, in 1951, single dwellers only counted for about 7% of the population. Last fall, census figures released revealed that 27.6% of Canadian homes have just one occupant now. People are living alone. Is that because they're more independent, they're more capable and free, or we just don't know how to be with other people?
I think it's because that whole definition of what is normal is changing, right? So I think a lot of women are now saying, hey, you know what, I'm going to pursue the career first, get myself settled before I look for a relationship or start a family.
Yeah.
I think that has more to do with it than the fact that we're isolating ourselves.
People used to be like you would finish school if you even went to post-secondary school, and immediately it was like the pressure was on. So have you met anyone? What are you thinking? Alison, did you mind me asking if you live alone? Do you live alone?
I live alone. I'm one of those people. But can I just say that it's kind of refreshing, these statistics. I mean, it's better for people like me who are young and single than thinking of those people that are out there still living with their moms in their 40s in their basement.
Right, right. Yeah, that's another thing. I mean, we're not getting kids out till 25 anyway, so maybe that stretch of time, Cub, is the time to actually be alone is actually important to have.
I think so, but at the same time, too, there's a lot of people that call Generation Y Generation Whine. If they're not whining about one thing, they're whining about another. I'm sorry, Alison. But I think what it comes down to is the fact that a lot of people are living by themselves now is because they are their own best roommate. Right. You know, they don't have to argue about what's on TV that night or what they're going to have for supper that night. If you want to sit there and eat a tube of cookie dough, you can do that without anybody doing it.
It says not to right on the pack.
Exactly. I know. And it makes my stomach itchy. But I think that's what it comes down to. I think that a lot of young people nowadays are so into their own stuff that they're kind of not inviting people to be a part of their world because, well, this is my world, this is my house, I'm going to live there with my 14 cats.
Is that healthy, Trisha?
Well, sure. I mean, to each their own, right? And I think it is kind of refreshing that it is now, it's not abnormal if you're single and you're living on your own and doing your own thing, right?
I lived as a single person for several years as well after leaving home and all of that. That seemed like a normal period of time. But if the reason is what Cub says, I think it suggests a problem with interpersonal relationships. People are less compromising now. I don't want to do that, so I'm just not going to. And we see it from politics, and it's not just Generation Y. In the States, more divided than ever, no compromise ever. Is this a problem with the world? And are computers contributing to it? Is it the fact that you are able to feel connected even though you're not in the room with someone?
Well, as someone who literally just really dying right now because I put down my iPhone for 2 minutes.
Right.
It's difficult. I mean, we're so involved. I mean, look, I go home. I have two. I don't have one. I have two iPhones. One for work, which I'm always watching, you know, what's coming in, what's new from the Sens, what's new from the city. And then I have my personal one, which is pinging every 5 seconds. What are you doing? Where are you? What's new? But no one's talking to each other, right? It's all on this technology. And it's true. It's hard to meet new people, to connect with them when you always have a screen like this in front of your face.
And that's what this generation has been raised on. My wife and I were talking about the other day. Our son, 20 years from now, is going to be so technologically advanced than what we were used to. I didn't have a laptop in my house until I was 30 years old. I didn't have a PC in my house until I was 25.
But aren't you a little hooked too, though? A little addicted to it?
Well, I don't have two iPhones. I don't have two iPhones because I have a child, so I mean, trying to keep one of them from being flushed in the toilet is a big deal in the house. You know, that's the game we play. I think that if I have more technology, I think most of it will end up in the garbage just because that's where my kid will put it.
The Huffington Post recently ran a story, Generation Y, dating and technology, having trouble meeting with people, and Canadians are actually one of the top users of technology. 1 in 6 Canadian millennials, specifically Generation Y, owns a smartphone, and they are the largest users of Facebook and YouTube. Now, CRTC says that, and we're off the phone or digital device for only an hour if you're in Generation Y. Is that true for you?
It's 100% true. Even when I'm at home watching TV, like, hey, here's my CTV show for the evening. I'm watching Law & Order or whatever.
Right.
I still have my iPad out. I'm still surfing.
Yeah.
Hey, look at that guy. Let's IMDb him. Or, you know, I can't literally focus on one thing. It's got to be at least the iPhone and at least the television, or maybe both, or maybe the iPad as well.
I know couples who do this beside each other too.
Oh my! We're constantly staring at our screens. Yeah, and another thing too is, especially with hockey coming back, I'm a big fan of live tweeting during the game.
Right.
So, but the problem is, and you see a lot of these events, people are missing big moments because they got their phones out to try to take a picture of it to look at it later, kind of thing.
Instead
so I think
absorbing it.
This generation is probably better prepared for life on their own because they're used to staring at a screen rather than another human face for a lot of
All right, I want to get the generational last thought here from you. Are we missing out on a human experience in some ways because of technology, or is this just the way of the future?
Yes, I definitely think that we are. Yeah, the phone,
missing?
We're missing the phone calls, right? Nobody calls anyone
Nobody
anymore.
talks to anybody.
Texts.
By the way, it's nice to be face to face.
Yeah.
Alison, is it the way of the future? Is it totally normal, or are we missing out on something?
It's the way of the future, but that doesn't mean I like it. I mean, I don't mean to be the Debbie Downer, but I sit there going, I can't meet anybody. No one wants to date me.
Well, you can meet tons of people. I'm sure you have 1,000 friends on Facebook, but are they real friends?
Make some friends on Craigslist.
Oh, no, don't do that.
And you know what? You're all wrong. The way of the future, monkey butlers, casinos on the moon.
Of course it is, and Jetson cars. Don't forget that. Thanks to my panel this morning on Top Talkers. Interesting to try and get to the bottom of it. I don't know if we got too far with it, but maybe it bears further discussion. I'm sure we'll be bringing it up again.
Let's solve some more world problems. What do you got?
Well, we can do that.